Welcome. I'm Melanie McCool, the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist, and I'm here to talk to you today about unlocking the money in your mind. That is actually how to break the glass ceiling in your mind to earn far more money with less work. I'm aware that what I speak on is a bit out of the box, but I'd also love for you to celebrate with me. I have been doing this workshop now for going on 4 years. And the first time I was delivering it, I knew that what I was speaking of was something that was incredibly valuable to the community of entrepreneurs that I was speaking to, but I didn't have the testimonials at the time. And so now I'm here really, really proud, and not just proud, but excited for you because, it's no longer just what I say. It's what we're seeing happen across the board for people. All right. So I think we can just about kick off here. We'll get started. As you are showing up, if you're here live with us, please just let me know where you're from and what it is that you do. What is your specialty? What lights you up? What are you called to do to make a difference in the world? People use these catchphrases a lot, like impact-driven entrepreneur and impact-driven coach, and they're perfect to describe it in a nutshell. But what I'd really love to know is, what is the impact that you'd like to create in the world? What is of great importance to you? Why did you decide to walk the path that you're on? Because I'll just say it, if the path that you're on, if you're here to unlock the money in your mind because you are just looking to make more money, that's why you started a business, I'm going to tell you something. That's not enough of a connection to what you do. But I'm willing to bet that if you're here, if you're taking this time, that you have an actual deeper connection to what it is that you intend to do. Beautiful, Darren. This is what I'm looking for. Bless you. I want to help people break the shackles of fear, guilt, and shame so they can live epic lives. Beautiful, perfect. Thank you. And Darren, if you feel comfortable to share with us in just a nutshell, my heart says that you broke shackles of fear, guilt, and shame, right? Initially. And now you have a deep, burning desire to help other people do the same. True? So many of us are working from, not just from theory, but from practice. And that's my story too. Beautiful. So I'm going to share with you today how you can unlock the money in your mind so that you can make the impact that you desire. Because ultimately, if you're a coach or a hypnotist, then you have a bigger reason that keeps you pushing forward, right? And that can be even more frustrating because you have this desire to be fulfilled by doing your work, right? This desire to help other people to be free of something that you have done the work to be free of yourself. And that's incredibly important. But when you aren't successful, that means that you are not actually helping people to make the transformations. You aren't fulfilled because you don't have the clients in front of you. It's like your purpose isn't being, coming to fruition. And that's why I'm doing this. Okay, so if your true burning desire is to actually see people transformed because you were excellent at getting in front of them so that they could know that you were the one to help them, I want to hear from you. If your true desire is to have the blessing of grateful clients, that's who I want to talk to. So if that's you, let's get going. All right. So I am Melanie McCool, and I want to welcome you to Unlock the Money in Your Mind. I'm the Entrepreneur's Hypnotherapist. And today we are going to talk about how you can break through the glass ceiling in your mind to earn more money with less work. And so I'll ask you if you've wondered why it seems that some people seem to just find it really easy to build their business, to get a roster of dream clients, right? And build their business to 6 figures and beyond. While you might be going, oh my gosh, the dream I had of this beautiful, thriving practice of having these clients that were getting the results and having this not just support me, but bless me, right? A business that blesses your lifestyle, right? Or sometimes it's that even if the money is there, you don't have the time or don't get permission to enjoy it, right? Some people, they have money anxiety, whether they don't have it, and here's the kicker, even when they do. And if you'd love to, you can raise your hand and let me know that money anxiety is something that has plagued you, whether you have it or not. Right? And maybe you won't, but my guess is it has. After working with more than 500 clients, money anxiety is like top of the list. So if this has been your experience, if you have, it seems like you are unable to make the impact that you desire, then stick with me, because I'm going to share with you how you can actually have that business that's full of your dream clients, a fulfilling work where you know that your love is blessing other people, right? But it also blesses your lifestyle beyond anything else. Because truthfully, if you are in fear, lack, scarcity, money anxiety, or you're not able to actually put food or pay your bills, you're no good to your clients. It's unfortunate, but it's true. And the crazy thing is, most coaches earn about 15 grand a year. That's certainly not enough to support, the dream lifestyle that you probably had in mind. So we're going to uncover some of the sneaky reasons why you feel like you might be struggling, you're dealing with money anxiety, and other people just kind of breeze through it. And I just want to tell you something, it's not your fault, okay? There's a whole lot of, people who their self-esteem starts to suffer as they go into coaching and being a hypnotist. It's like you have all of this, and tell me this is true. Hey, let's just do this. All right, money anxiety, Karen, Darren, thank you. Karen, impact is very important to me. I appreciate that. So as you are building your business and you've got all of this confidence in you about, it's a conviction. That's the word, a conviction that what you have to offer other people is an incredible blessing. So you have all of this confidence in that. Like, I know that this tool is something I need to bless people with. It's helped me immensely. I've got to share this. And if you feel like you are uniquely, built for this, that's one level of your self-esteem going on. That's running the show. That's why you jumped in. That's why you're here with both feet, right? And then it comes to building a business. And you're like, self-doubt creeps in. And it's unfortunate because it's like the two start to come together. So you start to doubt whether or not you should be the one to help people make transformations because you don't know sales and marketing stuff, or you're afraid to get on camera, or there's tech issues, right? And somehow this comes together and it knocks down your self-esteem around whether or not you could even be successful at this. If that's you, please let me know. That your self-esteem is suffering, your confidence in building your practice is suffering because the business building side isn't quite working out. If that's you, just say, yep, I'll admit. Because if I can help you to just pull those things apart right now, because I'm talking to the you, the part of you that knows that this is your soul's work. Okay, thank you, Darren. This is your soul's work. This is something that you must be successful at. And that's why I said, if I were to ask everybody, who'd like to make more money? I know everyone's hands are going to go up, right? Everyone's hands are going to go up. Want to make more money. But if it's just money that's driving you, this isn't for you. It's a weird thing to say, isn't it? When I'm talking to you about unlock the money in your mind. But truthfully, you want to get your subconscious mind on board for what we've got coming up for you to actually roll this thing out so that it's like you've got a greased runway for your business. Then you've got to get that part of you that's compelled to love, compelled to do the work with love on board to listen to me. Because that's the part that's going to stay the course. And we've got some beautiful tools that we can work with to get the saboteur out of the way, the one that wants to, either have you doing too much busy work, doing too many things, not knowing what you should be doing, throwing spaghetti at the wall, and essentially leading you to burnout out the door. Before you even had a busy practice, you could end up in burnout, right? That part we can get under control. All right. So, as I was saying, it's really beautiful to do this, going 4 years in doing this workshop. And sure, it's going to sound a whole lot different today than it did back then. The concepts are timeless, they're universal. How did I come to be the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist that's here to talk to you about breaking the glass ceiling in your mind? Well, I've been at entrepreneurship myself for 22 years and counting now. And before I was a hypnotherapist, I was in sales and marketing. So sales, marketing, technology, automation, all of that stuff came really, well, did it come easy to me? No, but I took that time to become expert at it. And so when I became a hypnotherapist, and without going into the details of why I became a hypnotherapist, I'd love to send you to a couple of videos in this group that'll tell you more about my story, about the path to hypnotherapy. But when I did, I was able to pivot, take on the role of a hypnotherapist, and essentially did a multiple six figures out the gate. Because sales, marketing, technology, and all the things that make a business go are universal. But what I found as I looked around is that most people, that's just not the case. Let's go back a moment. In working more than 20 years with entrepreneurs all over the world, I mean, I can say I've worked with 10,000 or more entrepreneurs over time. And I saw the same patterns of self-sabotage over and over again, no matter where people lived in the world, what their background was, there were patterns that emerged. So with one foot on the gas, these entrepreneurs were excited about building a business and their juicy dream life that they could envision. And they were watching all the, they were there for all the trainings. I led international sales teams and they were there, right? They got all the certifications, all the licenses. They got everything that they required, what we call professional development, right? They invested in themselves, time and money consciously to be a success. And then, well, there was like this great big foot on the brake. It's the saboteur. It's what I call, well, it's the programming that's at the root would keep them either from ever being a success. So some people just spin their wheels, unfortunately. because the saboteurs are so great. And others would get to a certain point, and then it was like there was a glass ceiling in their mind. They couldn't get past a certain revenue ceiling. There was an income that even when they had what I call pop and drop income, one great month, and then, oh my goodness, would it crash? If you looked at that amount of money that they earned over time, it evened out. You could just make a note on that. I don't expect you to do that right now. Maybe you could make a mental note and think to yourself, what has been my financial thermostat for the last 5 years or so? And how the heck does that even work? Well, there's a reason we call it a financial thermostat, because it does. There seems to be a cap. And so I have, when I became a hypnotherapist, I was like, well, I saw those patterns. I understand them intimately. And now I have tools to help them to break down those barriers, to get their foot off the brake, so that all that conscious work they've been doing would allow them to live the juicy dream life they'd envisioned. And so I stepped in to do this work with you. In fact, part of the reason why I did become a hypnotherapist is because I couldn't possibly go back to just selling people sales and marketing information without them doing the deep subconscious work. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Business coaches who are out there, I want you to just consider this. If your clients are not applying the information that you've given them that you know is proven effective, you can bet your everything that this is why, what I'm about to talk to you about over the next few minutes. I'll tell you is beautifully, 4 years later, hundreds of clients later, it is not uncommon for people to earn twice as much with half the work, or to have had, enjoyed their year more than ever and still bump their income up by 30% or more, or to have the courage to leave a toxic work situation, to actually do their soul business full time. I've also helped people to go from zero to full-time coaching in a very short time. It is working with what we're about to talk about tonight. So let's talk about the underlying reason. I said it's not your fault, right? It's not your fault. It's your brain, or is it really your brain? More specifically, it's this thing we call the mind and the programming that's running in the background. So most of my clients come with money anxiety. They have a feeling of scarcity, lack, and it's not even always because they don't have money. Yeah, I'm going to say that one again slow. I have clients, and many of them, who come to my practice who have more than enough money and are still dealing with money anxiety. And it impacts their business. It impacts their ability to enjoy their wealth. It impacts their ability to make the impact on the clients that they're looking to impact. And so money anxiety isn't just for people who are like, oh my gosh, I need to, earn more, or I'm not going to be able to take care of people. It's just something that runs under the surface in the background. And if you struggled in the past to either break through the glass ceiling in your mind, or you've earned lots of money, but then, it seems you have that pop and drop income, I call it roller coaster income, or if you earn plenty, but you tend to spend it, you get rid of it as quickly as possible, or even give it away. I'd love for, actually, I'm just going to ask one kind of person right now. Do you give away your money? Or do you spend it in ways that is so much so that you spend it so that other people know that you're, well, I'm not going to give you a reason. People think you're a good person. Do you give away all your money? So that's the only answer I want right now. If you're the type of person who can earn it, really good at that, but then you kind of get rid of it just as quickly as it comes in. All right. All right. So, hey, listen, this is for you too. Okay. Because some people see this, the title of the webinar or what we're going to talk about, and they think, well, I can make money. I don't have a problem with that. Well, if you still have money anxiety and you're doing any of the habits that actually keep you from accumulating wealth, yeah, Karen says, I'm good at saving, but I relate to pop and drop. I got a yes, I spend. All right. So these patterns, as I said, I've seen them over and over again. They are essentially, they're a programming that's working against you. And it has everything to do with your negative beliefs about yourself and your place in the world as it relates to money. And that, it's not just about money, is it? I'm coming back to the part of you that's compelled to do this work, who is you're hurting because you're not reaching the clients you'd like to reach to help them to help themselves. All right, come and talk to that part of you. Because yes, it's frustrating as heck. It's not right. It's not right for somebody who's got such a skill set and a world of people who need you to not make the money, right? It's not right. You should be very well supported. That's why I'm talking to you. But worse still, it's that you're not reaching your clients. That hurts so bad. So let's talk about some of the underlying blocks that I've seen. So I've had, working with tens of thousands of entrepreneurs over the years, I've seen patterns over and over again. And I can usually pick them out within, 2 or 3 sentences of a phone call. So if you'd like to, kind of get to the bottom of who and what the blocks to your success really are, I invite you to book a call, because I've got a pretty decent way of drilling in and getting this done. But some of the major themes that I see over and over again that play out, not just in, my clients' stories and their journey, but in news and in, like crazy stuff, like just what happened, right? They're just knowing that there are these underlying narratives that run in people's brains. Things like it takes long hours, and hard work to make money. And in that case, it might be that you have to sacrifice your health for success, or you can't be a good parent and be a successful business person at the same time. You can either have a successful career or have a happy marriage, or or a happy, loving partner. All of those things play under people's hoods, so to speak. Or there's one it's kind of related to the inner critic, which is just the worst, but I love to evict the inner critic. Give me a chance. I'm going to evict your inner critic. But how about this? And this might sound familiar. Rich people are jerks. Did that not just play out in the news, like in horribly? That not the news, but people's response? Rich people are jerks, right? Oh, God, if you think rich people are jerks, guess what? Your program ain't going to let you be rich for any good reason. It doesn't matter, because you don't want to be perceived as a jerk. That's also why lots of people spend their money as quickly as they can. Or how about if you charge a lot for your services, people will think you're a jerk. I've been asked to speak at a hypnosis education event, and I've been asked to address this idea that, if you're doing the kind of work that we're doing to help people, that somehow it's not honorable to charge. It's this weird thing that this idea that money is not spiritual or something. It's all looped together in this weird, convoluted thing, which basically says, let's teach them that money is the root of all evil, so they don't chase it, and then we'll be wealthy, and then they can just be our serfs, servants, and slaves. Ooh, it's ugly, horrible to say, but if you want to get to the bottom of this, we're talking about most of these underlying programs are literally meant to keep us in fear, serfdoms, and Yeah, as servants without any power. Mm-hmm. Or how about this? Money isn't for people like us, or I'm not, good enough to earn that kind of money. That's the one where your self-esteem starts to get crushed just because business is hard, right? So I'm not good enough. What? Nobody taught you when you got your certification that you needed to be in, to know sales and marketing. Or how about these? These are really good ones. And I want to know if these are any of yours out there. I'm no good with technology. That's you. I'm watching. Or about I'm terrified of being on camera. Or when you're told that one of the ways that you can very easily support yourself is actually by charging the appropriate amount for your services, there's this little voice in the back of your head that says people don't want to spend that kind of money. All right, I got a question for those of you who are here. And if you're watching on the replay, I'm all about it. You can hit #replay. And I want to ask you, who thinks they may charge the most for their services? Who thinks they charge the least? Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to ask you a question. Hey, Cam, good to see you live. Do you think that the people who charge the most, Darren says he charges the least. Thank you for being brave. Right. Do you think that the people who say they charge the most, which I don't see anybody raising their hands, so I'll just do that. Okay. Do you think that they just live in a super affluent area? Or do you think they have affluent programming? Because actually, that's actually a really great answer. Yep, I honestly charge the least to help others, right? Yep. And a really good point is where I live. I live in Pasco County, Florida. Beautiful place where I live. It's north of Clearwater and Tampa, right? And I'm not sure if the stats are exactly this, but when I moved here, the numbers I saw were that it was 60%, it cost 60% less to live in Pasco than it did in Pinellas. So am I in a super affluent area? No. But these are the things that play through people's heads. I have a hard time charging it all. And Teresa, are you the artist that you make that beautiful, the fire? Remind me, please. Actually, just reply and tell me, Teresa, if that's you. Yeah, I'm like watching now to make sure. Well, we have so many people come through, and I'm sure there's another. Me, I freeze and cannot move forward with things when I can't figure out technical things. Thank you. Right. So Teresa, that tech thing is literally one of the breaks in your life, one of the things that are keeping you back. And it's something that we can work with. We can actually overcome. And we'll get to some of that here. I'm an autism mom, recently lost my son. Oh, bless you. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So all the more reasons, right? All the more reason to step forward and to be the love that other people need in the world, right? So I've just kind of like touched on them, and we're going to do a little process here in a minute, and that will actually help you to see some of yours at a subconscious level, because we're talking about it consciously, and you might be like, oh yeah. Or you might be like, I don't know. I don't know what my saboteur is. We're gonna figure that out, at least at a certain level here. And I'm gonna give you a tool. I'm gonna give you just one of the many tools that I give my clients in my self-hypnosis training for entrepreneurs, that will help you to dissolve the most sticky limiting beliefs that you may have. Because all of these limiting beliefs, they kind of hide under the surface. You may be very consciously aware that there's some programming that was passed to you from your family or from your community that you grew up in, whatever it might be. But just being consciously aware is not enough to make the changes. We've got to look at it subconscious and then use subconscious tools to dissolve them so that your subconscious mind can then be on board for the plan that you have consciously. No, I just used the word conscious many times, but if you're a hypnotist, hopefully you followed that train quite easily, right? But here's what I know, that no amount of personal and professional development, certifications, licenses, all of that stuff are going to actually get rid of those breaks. Because it's like you have one foot on the gas, right? All that conscious work that you've done, one foot on the gas, the other's the brakes. These limiting beliefs that hide under the surface are the brakes. And so our job, my job as the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist, is to help you to debug the system, to remove the blocks and install what I call wealth programming, program for prosperity. And then when you do, you'll find it much easier to increase your income in ways that you couldn't really even fathom before, in ways that we couldn't imagine were possible before. Because when you take your foot off the brake, right? And then your subconscious mind that actually runs the show all the time is on board with you to build wealth, then you're going to find yourself taking action. And that's going to enable you to manifest the juicy dream life you've envisioned. You know, there's a lot of talk about manifestation in really magical thinking ways. You're not going to hear that from me. I will tell you that what we do helps you to raise your happiness set point and your financial thermostat at the same time. And I will give you many tools to remain in a high vibration. That is a positive neurochemistry. And it's not because then you're just going to magically get the money to fall from the sky, which is what a lot of manifestation type coaches will say, not like that quite. And then essentially that results in guilt in you because, well, I'm not making the money because I'm not high vibe. Bull. Okay. The fact is you do want to remain in a positive mindset without the saboteur running, because a positive mindseted person will take action. And action is what's going to speed up that manifestation so that you actually have your dream life play out in front of you. Okay? So it's about the action. And if you're negative, cynical, the inner critic's running the show, and you've got these saboteurs running, the action just doesn't happen. And the more cynical you get, the worse that is. This is the definition of burnout, by the way. That ultimately the end of burnout is when you're like, oh my God, I am completely unproductive. Can't do a darn thing. That's called burnout. Done. So if you are not far, feeling like you're not far as long as you should be, then it is time to get some of that underlying vibe raised, but so you can take action, not just so that money can fall from the sky. Is anybody else kind of sick of the magic dust fairies that are out there that want to sell you the easy like that? Because I'm here to tell you about the neuroscience of success and what it actually takes to build a successful business that serves your ideal clients with love and makes you a whole lot more money. God, yes, Karen says. And Karen, my friend, is one of the most spiritually educated women I know. So I love that you said that. Thanks, Karen, for answering. All right. So how would you like to develop those wealth habits so that you can wealth habits, the things that are actually going to help you to take your business to 6 figures and beyond, right? So I just want to say, the thing is, if you'd stop, because I don't want you to get too excited about your future, I mean, you could go back to doom scrolling, going on your thing and doom scrolling, or, feeling horrible because it feels like you should be so much further along and it seems that all these other people have it so easy, right? Or you could go back to the confusion about which next big bang, whiz bang tactic is going to work to grow your business, right? Or you could allow yourself to hit the easy button. Where's my easy button, Sean? Watch, I'm done with it. Easy button to get your subconscious mind on board to support you. And then I think I heard the door open. Here he comes. Awesome. Thank you, my love. Thank you, my love.
It's easy.
You want to take a little sweetie? Awesome. Thank you. We have the sweetest little dog. But she probably would decide that barking was the thing to do because I was excited. So. All right. Now remember, as the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist here, I am not talking from theory. And this is literally from my own experience. So it's not just about seeing the patterns and helping others to unravel them. They were very much my patterns too. And I did not grow up wealthy. In fact, when I started my business more than 20 years ago, you could say that I was probably one of the least likely people to succeed as an entrepreneur. Like I just did not have the background, the training, the mindset from youth, any of that stuff. In fact, before I got started as an entrepreneur, I was working as an ecological consultant and had lived and worked on organic farms. It was like the business bone was not my backbone, right, at the time. I actually also, without hesitation to say, I grew up in the definition of the epitome of a dysfunctional home and had a whole lot of trauma in my youth. So this isn't coming just from theory. I have worked through much, and I am compelled to help you, even if you didn't have such a rough time of it. Whatever your reasons are that you want to bless other people with your work, I'm here to help you do that. That is my place on planet Earth, right? And I do think that those of us who have actually come through the fire, right, and have risen from the ashes, they're the kind that make the best guides. Don't you agree? And if there are a few steps that are required for you to become extraordinarily successful, one would be something we're going to be talking about here in a moment for sure. 2 would be to have the guidance of a successful mentor. And 3 would be in a community of people, because entrepreneurship is one of the most lonely places you'll ever find yourself. We are only about 3% of the population. And therefore, most people cannot relate to that fire that you have in your belly that compels you to do this thing. I'm here to help you to do this thing without it taking as long and as hard as it did me. And certainly without the wasted money, right? That many, many, many people find themselves, just throwing money after it. And you cannot buy success. I've been saying that for a really long time. What I'm going to talk to you about in a moment, I'm going to get you to see some of the underlying patterns in the subconscious mind. And then I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into how changing at the level of the subconscious works. And you should know, I've actually started using these kinds of modalities when I was just 11 years old. I spoke of the trauma of my youth. Well, I had major insomnia, and I started using self-hypnosis from about age 11. Somewhere around, in that same time, about 13, I helped myself be cured of bruxism, which is that terrible grinding of your teeth. And I was blessed in my high school years with a teacher that taught me the power of mental rehearsal. And she didn't call it that. She just said that, there's this method that top, athletes, the Olympians and astronauts and top performers worldwide utilize. And I want to help you to use it so you can win this competition that we're going to be a part of. DECA, if anybody knows what DECA is. And so I've been using mental rehearsal ever since because, I won that competition and went to San Francisco with flowers in my hair. So this is not new to me, this work. I've been using it for most of my life, for that matter. And I continued as I did become an entrepreneur with no background. I had to do a whole lot of study, and fascinated by the neuroscience of success. And so I've been studying that and the universal laws of money and the extraordinary techniques that we use to reprogram the mind since I was very, very young. And then as I was an entrepreneur, a speaker, trainer, leader of leaders across the world, and worked with thousands of people, I knew I could use some of this without becoming a hypnotist. But one of the reasons that I actually became a hypnotist is because ultimately I wanted to say to so many people, you've got a saboteur. The saboteur works at the subconscious level. I didn't have the toolbox. I didn't have permission to tell my, sales leaders that that's what was sabotaging them. But now I do. And so thanks for showing up today, so I can tell you what's going on and then make it go away as quickly as possible. And I will tell you also, actually, that the patterns that I've helped other people overcome, I had to overcome them myself. And it helped me to make millions in business, okay, without, being anywhere qualified through my life and upbringing. And I'm not telling you that, to impress you with some, flash in a check. Though in my prior life, we had some big checks to flash. But I want to show you that if there's a glass ceiling in your mind that's keeping you from reaching your highest potential, you too can change it. And I'm absolutely here to help. So knowing that these methods, they're here to help you, just like they've helped hundreds of others now. I've got some stories coming up here, Kim. I'm loving it. I'm going to read them after you know it. Thank you. All right. So why haven't you seen the results, right? If you have done the sales training, the conscious work, the events, the seminars, right? Well, because all of that stuff is like putting lotion on your stomach and expecting it to cure your bellyache. Okay. It's like putting it on the outside and expecting it to do something on the inside. It doesn't quite work that way. But through repetition, some change can happen. So if you're anything like me, and you've been at personal development for 10, 20 years or more, you might have seen some changes, not a question. But do you have 10 or 20 years to be a success in business now? Do you have 10 or 20 years do you think that you'll be able to hang on that long? Or do you need to support your family more than support your family? Have a wealthy life in health, happiness, and success, right? And see the clients you want to see. Or would you like to just keep putting that lotion on your belly for the next 10, 20 years? The answer is no, of course. I know it, but I'd love an answer. Let me see that reply. Because here's the thing, if you look around your life, what you see with your eyes is a culmination of what's going on with the subconscious mind. Because your thoughts at the subconscious, they lead to feelings. If those feelings are any of the ones that, arise that keep your foot on the brake, well, then you're not taking the action that could be taken so that you can create the habits, and then you can bring your juicy dream life into reality. So the solution really is to change the level of the subconscious thought. And just to be real, not all hypnotists know this method. I didn't learn this from somebody else. I developed it. I developed it because of my many years of study of neuroscience of success, the universal laws of money, and how people try to eliminate subconscious money, to eliminate what they call money blocks, and they try to do it consciously. Don't work. And I'm going to be really clear. This is for my belly. I'm going to be a lot. Darren, okay. I want you to be really clear. What I'm talking about is not just simple affirmations or meditation, and it's definitely not magical thinking, which I think we've already established, right? I'm not the magic dust fairy, not going to sell you some nonsense about, sit and grow rich kind of stuff, you may have experienced enough of this to know that we aren't, it doesn't do the trick. It doesn't help us, really. And the reason that stuff doesn't work as well as it could is because you first have to debug the system, right? Otherwise, you're just arguing with the programming that's already in there. And I'm just going to drop this right here. If you'd like my video that I've called Affirmations Are Making You Sick, you can just tell me you'd like the affirmations video. Because when affirmations feel like lies, they're going against the subconscious programming that you have in there. And it can actually make you sick. So are we ready to do some of this subconscious unveiling? To really look at what we call the underlying programming that's going on. I know we're headed up. We're almost here at the top of the hour. I'm going to do my best to wrap us up here in a timely fashion. All right. So we got some people who want those affirmation videos. We'll get you those. Sean's talking about stand up. Nope, but not right now, hon. We're not doing that right now. All right, cool. So if we're ready to dive into the subconscious, first thing we're going to do, I'm just going to ask you to take a couple of slow, deep breaths because I could use them myself. Right? And so how do we access the subconscious mind? It's actually very, very simple. To reach the deepest feeling parts of us, the one that, knows everything about us. It essentially stores everything we've ever learned about ourselves and our place in the world as it relates to money, success, and everything for that matter. Health, love, sex, everything. Then you've got to kind of go within. And we do that first of all, by just slowing down our breathing. And that will take you very quickly from this conscious thought pattern that we're in right now, beta, and bring it down to at least the alpha. We're not going to theta right now, guys. I will love to hypnotize you and give you that beautiful nap another time. Right now, we're just going to look for these limiting beliefs, the subconscious kinds of things, right? The ones that need to be eliminated because before they do, they cause you to not even be able to see opportunity, right? So hopefully you're just taking those long, slow, deep breaths. You can allow your exhale to be longer than the inhale. Just your vagus nerve loves a long, slow out breath. Let's breathe in. And here's the thing. If we were in a live room and I asked, who here wants to earn more money? All hands are going to go up. But then there'd likely be a great big but. Everybody's got this great big but in a way. And so we're going to expose those key blocks that they keep the poor, they keep the middle class in the middle, right? These are blocks that lead you to do the things that that you do say every day that destroy your wealth. And then I just keep breathing slowly because I'm talking to that part of you, that knows everything that you know. And I'm also talking to that part of you that is compelled to do the work because your love must be rippled into the world. So we're going to making friends, right? Bringing us all together. And I'm just going to ask, do you know anyone who is happy, healthy, and wealthy? And when I say that, what are your thoughts? Do you think they're just lucky? You think they got good genes? Was it their family? And you probably realize that family does have something to do with it for sure. That's where the original programming originated. Most people's businesses are run by a 7-year-old because you're subconscious programming, it allows you to have just a certain amount of income and not much more, that financial ceiling. Just keep breathing slow and low. And knowing that you don't have to do much more than look around and see what your mental programming is. The same 65 or 1,000 or so thoughts daily, 85% or more negative. And most people will live the same day over and over from age 35 or so, unless they're doing work at the level of the subconscious. And so your thoughts have created what you see around you. And you can see the outcome of the way you've been thinking for the last 10, 20 years. And so we're going to look at these thoughts. And no, we're not in hypnosis. You're just breathing slow and low so we can make this an experience that feels good, that feels safe. It can feel safe for you to unravel the saboteur. Well, you can feel safe to get rid of the saboteur for that matter. So if you're breathing slow and low, knowing that your underlying thoughts determine if you see or take action on the things that bring you wealth. If I asked you, if money were no object, what would you do with it? And now focus. And I'll trust that you're committed to the outcome, right? To your big dream. Your big dream that has everything to do with the impact that you commit to make on your clients, but also the dream that you have for yourself, for your life, for your family, maybe for the planet. And as you think about if money was no object, I will say there's no way you're dreaming big enough. It's impossible. You have an upper limit. There's a glass ceiling in your mind. So the way that the programming is right now, it's probably keeping you from dreaming big. You're dreaming smaller. You're earning less or on a roller coaster or giving it away, spending it. And even if I were to ask you to write down the description of your juicy dream life, there is an upper limit. There's an upper limit there. Your potential expands as you move toward it. Your potential expands, your mind expands, and you can never, ever go back. But I'm telling you that even now, your dreams have an upper limit. And I'd love for you to dream bigger, much bigger. And so if you're ready to see the thoughts that have kept you, procrastinating, under-earning, even taking unnecessary risks with your money, self-sabotaging or mismanaging your money, they have kept you from stepping fully into the tasks it would take to build your business, or have kept you, circling around and time wasting. And if you commit to being programmed for prosperity, well, you can expect to earn more, keep it, grow it beyond anything you've ever experienced. And so now, as you've just considered your dream and connecting that dream with the one that is compelled to do the work because it's done from a place of love, even if you recognize the upper limit now, that's okay. I can help you to raise that safely. The first step is to identify the conflicts that are causing the sabotage. So here we are at the top of the hour. I'm about to get to the revealing the saboteur, but I got to know that you're still here and that you want to know about your saboteur. You want to identify him, because otherwise you can all book a call with me. It would take a whole lot more time. I'm looking, and I know there's a delay on the replies, but I'm still waiting for them. Let me know you're ready. Okay. All right. So now breathing slowly. Yes. All right. Breathing slowly down into your belly and letting it go slowly. You can put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly if you like. We're just letting your mind know that it's safe for you to look under the hood. Okay, to get some of the secrets that have been hiding in there. All right. And as you, I am just going to say some words. As I do, I want you to consider what the initial answer is that you get. What does your subconscious mind say? So I don't want to know what you're supposed to say or what you're supposed to feel, or I want to know what actually comes up. And you can write this down. So if you have a piece of paper next to you, if you've been taking notes, if you got a journal, hey, Karen, good to see you. Darren and Karen, awesome. I got two Karens, Karen Ryber and Karen Ross. All right, so we're going to write, if you'd like, you don't have to keep your eyes closed. You can close them up. And when you come up with something that's just like, what the heck? I want you to write it down, okay? And again, I don't want to hear what you're supposed to say. Don't want to hear what you've studied consciously. So if you need to take some more deep breaths now, do that so you can get down into the deepest feeling part of you. And just say hello, and that it is safe for me to learn. It's safe for me to learn even more than before about my capacity to learn while I relax. And so when I say the word, money is, what comes up for you? You can just write it on down. Wealth is. Rich people are. If I have a lot of money, the reason I don't have a lot of money is the problem with having money is. If I become really wealthy, I won't be able to. If I become really wealthy, I'm afraid I'll lose. What? If I become really wealthy, I'm afraid I'll have to sacrifice. If I charge a lot for my services, people will think if I charge a lot for my services, people will think I am. If I charge a lot of money, people will what? And think back to your childhood and your family. What were the beliefs and thoughts that were around money, wealth, and success that you grow up with? My mom said or thought money was my dad said or thought money was. Growing up, I learned that money was very good. And now I'm just going to say some words, and I want you to tap into what the deepest feeling part of you feels when I say money, wealth, rich, finances, budget, money management, revenue, technology, sales, marketing. What are the stories that you're telling yourself now about why you aren't as far along as you should be? What is your big but all about? All right. Now, I'm going to ask you to consider which of them felt the worst. I call them icky, sticky, or the one Tanya says gone too fast, can't keep up. Yep. Well, two things. This is recorded. And two, I actually have a recorded version of this workshop with a worksheet. And if you'd like to get that, you can comment and I'll make sure you get that. But what I'd like for you to do is put a star next to the ones that feel the most sticky, or the ones that you're like, oh man, I sure thought I got over that a long time ago. Like, for some, it might be something about rich people being jerks, or something from your youth that you're like, my goodness, I knew that consciously. Well, how is that still playing into my life? The thing is, it is still playing into your life. And even if I went fast, Tanya, and you had a hard time keeping up, if there was a couple in there that you can identify that were like, oh man, that's what's keeping a foot on the brake in my life and my business, I would just love for you to drop one or two of your icky stickies right in the comments here, because I'm going to work with it with you. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you one of the processes that I give my clients to help them dissolve negative limiting beliefs. And the beautiful thing is, actually, I can give you the money blocks exercise in a short form too. I've got that. So Tanya, Darren, you got it, of course. But anybody who's got that list that I just went through and did come up with something that feels icky, sticky, something that feels the worst, just give me something about it in the chat so that I can help you with the process. And the process I'm going to give you is about dissolving limiting beliefs, right? So, yep, if you charge too much, you're a fraud. Perfect. And where does this idea of a fraud come from? So that would be like charlatans charging too much, or in the past, there might have been an experience, or you heard stories, or it's in the movies, that if you charge a lot, you're a fraud, right? That's a good one. So one of the ways that we can dissolve negative beliefs is to come up with what I call forward and backward affirmations, and to continually repeat them. Because the thing is, Karen, if you think that charging too much money you would be considered a fraud, then virtually all of your protection mechanism would keep you from charging probably what your services deserve to be paid in the marketplace, because you would never want your identity associated with, well, cheating people, frauds, people who would fraud others, right? And so you've got to turn that around. Well, okay, now they're coming in. Beautiful. Well, I got to stay focused. Yes, exactly, Lorene. Bless you. If I charge too much, I'm not a good Christian. I'm talking about that boot, right? That the idea that, poverty is more righteous. That's only in some scripture, not in others. And if you don't have wealth, then you are powerless. You can be a serf and a servant and a slave. So it's a very good idea to tell people that not having money is righteous. All right. So Karen, back to, sorry, I can get on a soapbox because I've done some research, and essentially there is a very clear delineation of who holds wealth, and they can delineate it by religion. And so it has a whole lot to do with the narrative that is spoken over people from when they're born, and that will determine whether or not they're going to hold the wealth. Make it, keep it, grow it, share it. It's a shame. All right. So Karen, the opposite of fraud is what? I'm asking you for the words, because what you want to be able to say is something like, the more honest I am about, and honest is, I'm just going to use the word honest, and you probably have to play with this a bit. No, it's the more honest I am, the more I can charge for my services. The more I charge for my services, the more honest I am. Or actually, it's the more honest I am, the more I charge. It's in the current tense, okay? So the more honest I am, the more I charge for my services. The more I charge for my services, the more honest I am. And I'm just going to step out of this for a second too, because there is a point when I work with coaches who are developing their practice, that it feels dishonorable to charge people below a certain point. You're literally devaluing yourself and your work. And under that level is a detriment to all involved. I'm not the one that's going to sit, if you come into my programs and we learn about the foundations that it takes to build a six-figure practice, I'm not going to be the one that's going to tell everyone the cookie cutter, you got to charge this big amount for your services. No, we're going to get energetic about where your thermostat is, and we're going to raise it. You're going to charge an amount that makes sense, and we're going to raise it. It's not cookie cutter. Sorry. I get over on the side. Sincerity, beautiful. So the more sincere I am, the more I charge for my services. The more I charge for my services, the more sincere I get to be. Beautiful. I love it. All right. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Karen says the word wealth and rich is our trigger, feels yucky. Money's hard to get. Yeah. Money is what other people have. Very good, Karen. I really appreciate that. The money, what other people like us, right? That's a whole thing. Money's hard to get. Money was very hard to get. I'm actually going to address these blocks in a way that is part of the what we do to convince the subconscious mind that that's no longer even remotely interesting or relevant to the woman that you are today or the man that you are today. We carry the fears of prior generations. And so your mother's life, nothing like yours. Certainly nothing like grandma's. But you're probably carrying around your grandma's limiting beliefs about money, how hard it is to get, right? Or if you're a man, it's the same thing. Because even 20 years ago, there was far less opportunity than there is now. And if you're a coach, a hypnotist, a consultant, it's not hard to get. If you were working, in manual labor, it was hard to get, right? But we don't have to do what our parents did, what our grandparents did. I hope this is landing. I hope that lands. Okay, I'm going to get back to the bottom here so I'm not missing the things. All right, so I'm just going to explain this forward and backward affirmations. And again, you can just, if you'd like a slower, lower way to work with this one process at no cost, you could just ask for that video. But forward and backward affirmation essentially is you're going to find what's the negative in there and turn it into the positive. And then you create the affirmation in a positive current tense. And here's the thing. One way it should feel like, well, yeah, that makes sense. Like the more money I have, the more money I make, the more fun I have. Well, that sounds normal. Of course it does. The other way should feel really weird. So it should feel like well, that doesn't make any sense in the world, right? So if I say, the more fun I have, the more money I make. Well, that used to feel weird, but I proved it true. Okay. But this is the best forward and backward affirmation I can give you is the more fun I have, the more money I make. The more money I make, the more fun I have. And you can hear that in one direction, it just makes sense in the world. In the other direction, it sounds like nonsense, but it is how you dissolve things. And it works really, really well for things like rich people are jerks, because, I ask people all the time, are you a jerk? No. So what do you know about yourself? What is your identity? Or I'm a good, loving, honest person. Okay, great. So then your forward and backward affirmation would be something like, the more good, honest, and loving I am, or generous, whatever the words are they give me, the more generous I am, the more money I make. The more money I make, the more generous I am. That'll dissolve the rich people are jerks, if that's the program running, really darn quick, because you're not a jerk. Right? And the more you get to be you in your identity, never twisting your values to be a fraud, as Karen said, never twisting your values to be a miser or to, be somebody that wouldn't bless other people, right? The more you're you, the more money you make. And if it's a jerk thing, you feel, well, I'm really kind and loving. Okay, so the more loving and kind that I am, the more money I make. The more money I make, the more loving and kind I can be. Well, oh yeah, okay. Awesome, makes sense. Cool. All right, great, beautiful. All right, so thank you. I hope I addressed some of them. I don't think I got them all, but we're looking at them. Know this. What you just saw are affecting your actions. Remember, your thoughts lead to feeling a certain way. And so if your thoughts bring you a negative feeling, then it's creating inaction, or worse, action that brings you more of a negative feeling, which is what you don't want. And then that brings you the habits that you see that have created your life and your world. And I'll tell you that those blocks right there will be dissolved. That's like step one, so that you can then, apply what you've already learned or what you're about to learn. And so as you consider this, you can know that just being unaware of that and letting that run the show is pretty irresponsible. I said, you're not responsible. You're not, it's not your fault that you aren't as far along as you should be, as far as, feeling like you should be making more money, right? It's not your fault that your programming is such that it is. A 7-year-old might be running your business, but it is your responsibility as an adult to clear it up and to get rid of the programming that's keeping you small and keeping you from, reaching your clients so that they can be transformed in the way that you know that you are compelled to help them do so. And so those limiting beliefs there, that's just the crux of the whole thing, will keep you from taking action and will help you keep you repelling your good fortune. What's, taking those blinders off what you might be able to see in your world. As I said, your potential expands as you move toward it. I'd love to help you take the blinders off. So as we bring these things to the very forefront of your mind. I want you to know that as you take the next steps to build your business, we are here at, the second half of the year. And if the first half of the year didn't give you, what you were hoping to accomplish and achieve, you have a decision. You can either continue on that same path, or you can work to get rid of the self-sabotaging patterns that would keep you from building your practice. And I have a very special offer for those of you who would book a call. If you are, if you've been here for the last hour or so with me, I just want you, would you just let me know you're still here? I want to know who's still here. Bless you. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for attending today's Unlock the Money in Your Mind presentation, investing your time in learning how you can eliminate that saboteur. I just want to see you so I can thank you. Hey, Karen, awesome. And if you're ready to take the steps, the next steps, that'll help you to earn more with less work, right? I invite you to book a call. That's my invitation. That's my very special invitation. But during that personalized session, and I want to know who you are, why you're called to do the work that you do, what you feel is your biggest limiting beliefs. And then I'm going to ask you some pretty mundane questions, but I'm going to ask you the things that it actually takes to build a busy practice. Do you have the foundations of tech, sales, marketing, and mindset that it takes to build a six-figure practice? All right, I'm going to ask you those things because no bones about it. It takes the mindset, but it certainly takes some things that make it a whole lot easier. I call it my robots. I'm going to ask you whether you've got your robots working for you. Hello, Sangeeta. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So if you've got any questions for me, and you can just drop in the call, or if you probably have a message from, it's Melanie and Sean, right? It's the Melanie and Sean, which is actually Sean. You've probably got them in your inbox. So if you'd like to book a call with me, just encourage you to reach out and get that because I am going to be making some really big announcements in the group here. You'll see first thing in the morning, a big announcement. But those of you who get on the call with me fastest, the first 5 calls, will have a very special bonus that will only be available to those first 5. And so if you'd like that, then you want to be in the inbox now, get the calendar link. And with that, I'm going to wrap up tonight. I know we went a little long. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And what I would love as I'm wrapping up here is just for you to let me know. I've got thank yous, and thank yous are beautiful. But as I like to say to my clients and those who are in Program for Prosperity, I kind of care less about how well you do your self-hypnosis, right? That's what I teach. Karen, you did. That's awesome. That's right. I care less about how well you do your self-hypnosis. I care more about what the other 23 and 45 minutes of the day are like. Okay? Because the self-hypnosis is there to help you to program your mind for prosperity. But we're not just it's not sit and grow rich. Remember that? Right? I want to know what the rest of your day is like. And so I want to thank you for being with me here today. And I thank you for your thank yous. It really does mean the world to me. Bless you. But what's more important to me is, what did you get? What did you get? And what would you like to know next? I'm going to ask that too. What would you like to know next? All right. With that, I'm going to say, bless you all. Thanks for being with me. I'm going to wrap it up. Perfect. Thank you, dear. All right. With that, let's say goodnight, everybody. I'll see you in the group in the morning. Adios.